times have changed.
Right.
It's not what it used to be no more. You and I both, Bill too, could go back, maybe 15 years. You wouldn't dare be saying some of the stuff that we are talking about here on this show.
Something happened in the news just before we went to air. I just read this. It's something that came out today. On the latest episode of The Snake Pit, Jake Roberts was asked between Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels, who he viewed as better in the ring, as a better in-ring worker, I should say. His response, neither. Performer, Shawn. Bret just gets dull at times, and his interviews aren't up to par. I don't think to what they should be, at least for me, for what position he is being held in. I think his interviews were poor at best. Jake Roberts also said he didn't have a lot of glowing things to say about Shawn Michaels either. They were part of that era that quit selling things, according to Jake. I will give it to Bret. He did wrestle a lot, more than Shawn, but Bret, to me, just, I'm going to get myself in a lot of trouble here. He just wasn't a champion to me. There, I said it. Neither of them were. Thoughts?
Well, the only thing I can say is this. Jake, he speaks his mind. So if, I know both of these guys, but I don't know him, like Jake knows him. He had the opportunity to work with both of them in the Attitude Era, even before I even went to the WWE. So, maybe he knows maybe some of us don't know. But to me, both of them, I think, are two hell of a guys, two great competitors in the ring. So, that's my opinion. But, everybody has their own.
Bill?
Well, as Jake would say, Bret Hart doesn't have that sizzle.
And I think that's pretty much what he was trying to say.
I think Bret Hart was always regarded as one of the best technical professional wrestlers in the business. Shawn Michaels was more of a sizzle and flashy guy. Bret never really made the transition to sports entertainment. Bret stayed pure wrestler. His interviews, I don't know, Jake says they were boring, but I don't think he was. Bret's old school interviews were short and to the point and looking in the camera and saying what he was going to do to his opponent. Shawn's interviews were more flashy. Shawn's outfits were more flashy. Shawn was more flashy in the ring. But I cannot agree with Jake about Bret Hart being boring if you're a fan of the old school pro wrestling.
I tell you what worries me is that because I know it's a podcast that he's speaking on, it's his podcast. And of course, part of the what you're trying to do is get views on your podcast. That's what you're looking for. I wonder if some of this is Jake trying to make it a little bit more, palatable to those who look for dirt in podcasts. But I wonder, is it really good for Jake to be going down that road? Because Jake's got a lot of issues. The last thing he needs is a lot of heat from fans all over the country jumping his shit because of something he said. I kind of wonder if that was a smart move for the producers. If maybe they shouldn't just said, let's not cover this. There's no need to cover that, and just keep moving on. Because I think it opens Jake up to the possibility of catching a lot of heat that maybe he doesn't need at the point of his life.
Jake is Jake. Yeah. And Teddy will back me up on this. Like Teddy said, Jake says what he feels, and that's his
and
opinion.
the other thing I keep trying to tell you too, Mac, times have changed.
Right.
It's not what it used to be no more. You and I both, Bill too, could go back maybe 15 years. You wouldn't dare be saying some of the stuff that we are talking about here on this show. So the times have changed. Like I said, that's why you got the dark side of wrestling. You didn't have that back in the day. You know what I mean? Now you got that, and that tells you the truth. They tell you everything you need to know about a person. And really, some of the stuff that I seen on there with some guys that I even worked with, I didn't even know.
Wow.
Yeah, me either. Same thing, Teddy.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Times have changed now, man. You can. It's you got freedom of speech. So
I remember when I first started in the early 70s, and I won't mention the wrestler, but he said, listen, if you talk about what you heard in this dressing room, it's very easy for us to have your legs broken. I never forgot that.
Yeah.
And back then, dead serious.
And he meant that too.
Yes.
Oh no, I know
Yes.
he did. There were shooters back then that if someone broke the code, even a wrestler trying to, that was going out and exposing the business or whatever, all of a sudden he would be in some sort of an accident where his arm or his legs were broken. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, they put a hit out on him.
Absolutely.
Bill, I know we're on the wrestling time machine. It's also a very special day in history, the day that we are recording this. Can you tell us about a little bit of history that's happening today?
Oh yeah, 41 years ago today, as we're taping this, I don't know when it's going to be aired, but 41 years ago on June 6th, 41 years ago, it's 2023, Vince McMahon Jr. spent $1 million and bought the WWF from his dad, Vince Sr., and his partners, Phil Zacco, Gorilla Monsoon, and Arnold Skolin. So today changed everything. It was the first thought that the whole business was going to change under Vince Jr. And man, the business did change. It took a while, but the territories were no longer going to be. Entertainment was going to be the top priority in professional wrestling, and it was going to become sports entertainment.
And that it did. And of course, he took that $1 million, is now a billionaire multi times over. So he certainly can't complain about that investment whatsoever.
Gazillion.
Yes.
Yeah.